Adrian always wrote best in the morning. If he timed things right and woke up in that half dreamlike state and then went straight to his desk and wrote, he always produced something highly original. However, there were a few problems with this. Problem number one: Adrian could not perfectly time his alarm to match his circadian rhythm. Sometimes he woke up too early and felt nothing but a sore tummy and utter exhaustion. And sometimes he woke up too late and felt deeply refreshed, but creatively void, like ice cream scooped out at the perfect temperature that leaves no residue. Problem number two: since this dreamlike state did not coincide with full restfulness, Adrian's weaker self would often take over in the morning and, instead of going to the desk and writing, after switching off his alarm, would immediately crawl back into bed to return to sleep. Adrian tried all sorts of tricks, leaving a trail of alarms which led to an old-fashioned wind-up clock on his writing desk, throwing a heavy rock onto his bed as soon as he got out of it, and getting a friend to phone him 5 minutes after waking up to check he hadn't gone back to bed. The results of these were, however, a trail of broken clocks, a dent in his mattress, and a ruined friendship. Problem number three: Adrian had a job, and his job didn't leave him much time to write. He already had to wake up at 6 to show up to work on time, and if he got up any earlier, he'd have to go to bed at 8 or 9 p.m. to get enough sleep. And Mrs. Barnsley downstairs still had the TV blaring at that time, before she inevitably fell asleep to Corey, and her grandson turned it off. Eventually, Adrian settled on the solution of naps. He'd come home from work and head straight to bed. Of course, problem number one still remained, but because he'd only be going through one sleep cycle, he could use a diagnostic framework to determine exactly how long it would take him to get to sleep, thereby ensuring he woke up in the optimum state for creative output. The framework involved questions such as, what is the state of your stomach? And did Linda complain at you during lunch? And what is the current phase of the moon? Problem number two, the problem of not wanting to get out of bed in the cold, dark morning, was equally solved, as by that time of day Mrs. Barnsley had her heating on full blast. And work, the most depressing part of the day, was long past, satisfying Adrian's weaker side and preventing him from returning to bed. And not only was problem number three, hearing Coronation Street blasting through the floorboards, not only was problem number three irrelevant, by napping after work, he could also stay up later reading without feeling tired the next day. So Adrian's literary output flourished. Day after day, he followed his plan, producing an early evening dreaminess that buoyed him reliably into the rapids of a writerly flow state. All those projects he'd been dawdling on for years began to reach completion, like fairy tale thread that spun itself into gold. He got so ahead with his writing that he even got over his fear of showing people his work and started querying agents on his lunch break. M-hook, line, sinker. Somehow it was all coming together. Agent, contract, book tour, with a nap and a writing session between signings, of course. Yes, Adrian had made it. Emma, picture it now. A room bathed in camera flashes, crowded with bespectacled book bloggers. One asks, Mr. Carolay, most debut authors toil for years on a single manuscript and then act surprised when their publisher asks for the sequel. You've come out the gate with a trilogy and a collection of short stories. Just how do you do it? Adrian smirks and composes himself for the photograph that will accompany this interview. I sleep on it, he says wisely. Tens of thousands of pounds and months of travel later, Adrian returns home. He's kept his day job because he doesn't want to jinx things. Miraculously, his boss was okay with him taking months off to launch his books, maybe because she's a failed artist herself. He's seen her doodling on notepads when nobody's looking. Adrian does his first day at work, showers in the praise and curiosity of his colleagues, and heads home for his first nap post-success. He completes the diagnostic framework on autopilot and curls up with the alarm set for 33 minutes later precisely. He performs his usual sleep meditation and nothing. He's still awake. It happens sometimes. He starts counting sheep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 583 sheep later, and he's wide awake, with the clock beside him ticking. Did he make his calculations wrong? Today has been an unusual day with him returning from tour, but he's had unusual days before, like that time a terrorist group attacked his workplace. And he still managed a good 2,000 words that day. Maybe something is wrong with his body? But he doesn't need to pee or eat, and his pillows are soft enough. So finally, Adrian does something he hates doing. He explores his emotions. Generally, he tries to keep a layer of separation between him and them, as if anger and fear and sadness were frogs trapped beneath the surface of a frozen pond in winter. But just this once, he pokes at the ice and makes an awful discovery. It's success. Where previously a great black hunger yawned, ready to be patted with sleep or food or praise, there now thrums a hearty, unrelenting fire. These past few months he has been lauded, feted, challenged, entertained, and, most unusually of all, accepted for who he truly is. And now he cannot sleep, and he most certainly cannot write. He hasn't tried it yet, but he just knows. Just like how he got so intimate with his characters last year that he heard their voices while brushing his teeth. His heart is full with readers' comments and positive reviews and emails between him and his publisher. And most of all, with the feeling of being done. And that fullness is keeping him awake. Without an empty page, how can a writer write? Adrian's empty page was always his dissatisfaction, his ink the drips of fantasy that leaked into his gray world. Now his world is in color and the ink has turned to gray. They always say, follow your dreams, but sometimes it's better to stay asleep. The end.